Hey, everybody, welcome to the Get Creative podcast. Today, I've got Jacob. Jacob, welcome to the show. How you doing, brother?
Thanks. Yeah, it's fantastic to be here. um, Real fast, I want to thank you for being as consistent as you are. You bring a ridiculous amount of value to pretty much everybody's lives that meet you. So, yeah, it's not replicated in many places.
Yeah, I've never seen it replicated. And in fact, the last interview that I did, student Reagan says to me, she says, I don't know how you do it. It's insanity. I saw you on a plane yesterday. You did a 500-person meetup with our community in Temecula, California. Then you were in Utah with 500 people there. You're at Mastermind. You're at this. You're speaking on stage. You're doing all these things. You're doing deals. Your team I bought 200 units this week. And then on top of it, you get home, hang out with your kids, and then you wake up early on a Sunday morning. So thank you to you, Jacob, for hanging out with me on a Sunday morning to allow me to be consistent. And here I am doing interviews, getting to know people deeper in our community. Now, cool thing is, Jacob, you and I have connected, but the audience has not connected with you. So what is your journey in real estate? And right after that, I'm going to ask you a question of what kind of deal are we talking about today? So tell me, what was your journey getting into real estate and getting into our community?
Sure. Yeah, we were I was in auto sales for like 7, 8 years. And then we bought our first house. It had a basement apartment. So we house hacked that, moved into I guess the first flip property. It was a horrible choice to live in with a pregnant wife. So it, it stresses a marriage.
We just finished a YouTube video, which is why I'm interrupting this YouTube video. We were talking about how all the ways that a Gator makes money in a real estate transaction. Look at all these ways. If you're trying to get started in real estate and you don't want to be the person cold calling and finding the deals and you go, man, I just want to sit back and give money to other people's transactions. Well, joining Gator, you're going to get corporate credit, access to capital, and access to my money. You'll never have to use any of your own money if you don't want to joining Gator. So if you want to get started making money on all these types of transactions, go to joingatortribe.com.
Oh yeah, people that are house hacking, it's like you kind of have the Dave Ramsey mindset. You're trying to figure out, like, how do I have the upper unit pay for me, and how do I save money? And you spend all this time and energy trying to save money rather than time and energy figuring out how to make more money. And when you have a significant other or a pregnant wife, for that matter, it becomes incredibly stressful for them. They're like, Jacob, get me the heck out of here. Give me my own house. I need a place to nest. I need a place to call my own. Was she stressed out because you were in a bottom basement? Is that where the stress was coming from?
The duplex, we were on the top. We rented out the basement. The one we moved into is what we started tearing apart after we lived there, and it's just never stopped.
Oh
So
my gosh,
yeah,
bro! If I was your wife, I'd karate chop you. Oh, that makes so much sense
yeah,
why she'd be frustrated. So you were renovating, and this is what's interesting is you're sitting there going, I want to provide for my family, and so I'm gonna try and get us to be in the house and simultaneously work on this. And so your wife was probably just like, I cannot deal with this. I'm
yeah,
pregnant. Give me a clean house to work in.
yeah.
Okay, so you started house hacking. What was the next step in your journey?
So after that, I think you had just launched Gator, and then we ended up. I was like, "Oh, we can do that," and there was still like free docs. I think they were very original docs, and I went into the free group. There was a guy on there that said, "Hey, I'm looking for a Gator." He had seen like your very first set of videos on it. It's like, I can do that. I'll help. And then it was it was sketchy. I think he provided the docs at that time, and I just learned everything on the fly. And then the end of 22, we joined SubTo and Gator, and then left our W2 the beginning of 23, and then just went into it all last year. So
Wow.
that's been a heck of a ride. Yeah.
Wow. So in 1 year, you join Gator and SubTo, you start cranking deals, you start working on stuff, and you guys left your W2. That first deal you did you end up making money on that deal that you were learning on the fly?
That went flawlessly, and I think that really has to be to the guy I worked with. He was like an old school real estate guy who'd been in it forever and just found some wholesaling stuff and started doing it. And that's really to his credit, because that was not my vetting of the process. What was interesting is after I saw that and how many things that I didn't do to check and be safe with it, um, it took me forever to get another deal because I was terrified that I'm like, oh man, I didn't even see this threat. I didn't see this. I didn't ask for this, all sorts of stuff. So then,
Amazing. Do you know
yeah,
how much money you made on that first deal?
it was $5,000. We lent 15.
You made 5 G's on your first Gator deal.
Yep.
Bro.
Yeah, I think I sent you an Instagram message or your team. It's like, you guys don't understand how life changing this is. I'm sure you do, but but
I do.
nuts.
I mean, nobody was doing Gator, right? I invented the strategy essentially, and I perfected a lot of the things along the way. And I was just looking at, there were very few people doing it across the country. And what happened is I was going to masterminds and I was telling people, hey, I'm crushing at SubTo. I'm crushing seller finance. I'm the leading dude in the industry, but I'm also doing this other strategy on the side. And then there was this old school guy that was like, oh yeah, I've been doing that for 20 years. Please don't tell anybody about that. Like, don't tell anybody about that.
Whoops.
I was like, oh, so I'm not crazy. Like, this is across the country. He's like, dude, let me show you what I'm doing. And then I showed him what I was doing. And then he goes, oh my gosh, like I probably missed out on millions of dollars based on what you're doing and how much you're charging and all that kind of stuff. So I went back to the drawing table. This is 2 years ago in March. And I drew out what I thought could be the most life-changing way for people to get started without finding a piece of real estate. And then here you go, Jacob, you go make 5 G's on your first freaking deal. How long did it take for you to make that $5,000?
That was it was a 30-day close, and it closed in like 28 days or something like that. It was right on schedule, right on track, no problems.
Okay, 28 days, $5,000. What's crazy is that I don't think any house hacker has ever made $5,000 in 28 days.
No. No, that's not how you do it. This
okay,
is how you do it.
So what does your business look like? What are you trying to do more of? What is maybe today, here I am, Jacob, looking into 2023. What are you focusing on and what are your goals? If you could wave a magic wand, end of the year, what have you accomplished this year?
So we want to, end of the year, I have accomplished figuring out how to get a $40K per month funding business going. And I'd like to be putting half of that back in to try and buy creative deals. So I had a horrible shiny object syndrome in the first year. And just like, oh, I can buy that, I can underwrite this. And then it's horrible to just spread everything out like that. So this year we'll refocus, just work on building leads, just work on funding deals. And then when we have a significant cash flow and stockpile, then we can go back in. I heard you say at one time, you said somebody that's wholesaling might want to buy all the deals, but they're not ready to have the baby, right? We're not ready to have the baby. We're ready to have that baby, not a house baby.
Yeah, you're basically like, I'm dating real estate right now. I'm not ready to marry it, or you're not ready to have that baby. And it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Why every strategy is different, because every human being's different. And I would also argue with you, Jacob, that shiny object syndrome, when I look back at it, was the reason why I found out the things that I found out. And I would also argue that the last 12 months, where you are saying you bounce from this to that, to this, to that, also gave you skills that will help amplify everything you do going forward. So I think you weren't necessarily doing shiny objects syndrome. I think you were doing skill acquisition of underwriting, connecting, networking, understanding, all sorts of things. You did skill acquisition this last year, which was probably super important for what you're about to do this year. $40,000 a month. That's freaking gangster. And once you hit $40,000 a month, let's say end of the year hits, you hit $40,000 a month, you've got a good little team going, you're making money. Where are you looking for these deals? What market are you trying to look for these deals in?
We got some family in Texas, in the Dallas area. Houston. They're in Houston, but both of those are where we'd like to travel. So we'll start building there. And then we kind of want to just start hopping around to where we want to travel to and building little portfolios there. So, but Texas first.
I love it. Texas. Texas is the market that I own the most properties in. And I would agree that is actually, I think I own about 700 doors in Texas between Amarillo, Lubbock, San Angelo, Dallas, and Houston. Amazing market. I don't have anything in I have one single family home in San Antonio, 30 in dang, I have a lot in Texas. Like I almost have spanned the whole entire state of Texas at this point. I freaking love Dallas and I love Houston. And you guys like to travel there? Are you RVing over there or what are you guys doing?
We fly. We're in northeastern Nevada. So we're a real little town that has like a 2-hour or 4-hour trip each way to a major airport. So no, we're not driving there.
This is why I see you at the Utah meetups. Where in northeastern Nevada do you live?
It's in Elko. So we're 3 hours away from Salt Lake.
What is in that city? What is going on there? Why do people live there?
It's a major mining town. So like 80% of the gold comes out of northeastern Nevada for the U.S. So in our town,
no way. Wow. So you got a lot of people over there working for the mine and cranking out. So you guys have new builds out there. You're probably expanding, right? It's
been an interesting market. Since the rates have gone so high, there were a ton of new builds that were like $700,000-$800,000. Well, probably like 6 to 7. And I think it kind of tested the market because people aren't moving here for their school systems, right? It's just this weird proximity thing where they want to be close to $100K a year job, but they don't have to invest in the area. So once the rates went through the roof, a lot of people stopped buying those real expensive houses and just went right back into the rental market. So there's a bunch of new builds that are kind of sitting vacant. But yeah, there's like 9 different contributing states to the workforce. People come from all over to be here. So for that,
I love it. Okay. So if somebody wants to connect with you, Jacob, right, you're doing a lot of Gator deals. That's what you want to focus on, it sounds like. And you want to build that business and really focus on that niche. If somebody wanted to connect with you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Just messaging on Instagram so far and then that's just Jacob or at Jacob Boulette.
Okay. So at Jacob Boulette, you're not going to get a lot of people with that last name. That's a French name, right?
It's Slavic, but it got made up when great grandpa came over. So I think he found some French people. He goes, I like those names.
Oh, I love it. Okay, cool. So you've got your Instagram. What are you looking for? What can people bring you? How can they help expand your business and bring value to you so you guys can collaborate?
Just good deal flow is what we're looking for. I'd like to get 10 or 15 wholesalers that we're doing consistent business with that want to 10x their business. It's pretty fun to be able to tell them how you can make a difference when they have unlimited funds for earnest money, right? They start putting stuff down, they can make all the offers they want. And as long as the deals are consistent and vetted, they have unlimited deal flow that way. There's none of their money tied up.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. So guys, if you're a wholesaler in the audience, looking to get EMD to help amplify your business. Now, what does that mean? For some of you guys that are wholesalers, like, well, why do I need that? Go and watch Gator Method video on the YouTube channel. It will help you explain, understand. But why stronger EMD helps you close more deals is that when I figured that out probably 8-9 years ago as a wholesaler, I would go into appointments and I would, as fast as possible, not offer more money for the house. I would offer more earnest money for the house, showing how much more serious I was in my offer than even somebody that was offering $5,000 more for the purchase price. I would offer $5,000 more for the earnest money and I would win the contract because the other person would put $10 or $100 or even $1,000 down. I would put $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. So reach out to Jacob. Jacob can help expand your business, help you 10x your business. And he's a smart dude. Even though he lives in a mining town doesn't mean he actually, here's the better way to say it. The reason he lives in a mining town is because this guy is full of gold. He's got so much capital that he can help you deploy, that he might as well be the mayor of this gold town. So, Jacob, thank you for coming on the show today, brother. Appreciate you.
No, thank you, man. It's a privilege.